my most amazing artist. I hope you are having an awesome day today. Welcome to week 2 of our shape robots. Last week we learned all about different kinds of shapes that you can use in your art. And then we printed this beautiful background using just a bottle cap and some paint. And today we actually get to make our robot, our shape robot. And just like the name is telling us, we're going to use a bunch of different shapes to create our robot on top of our background. And we're going to be collaging. So we're going to use some glue today. And I have my white glue and a glue cup and a glue brush, but you can use a glue stick or a glue bottle if you're at home. I will be needing a pencil today, and we're going to do a little bit of cutting. So we're going to use some scissors and of course use our very best scissor safety while we're using those. I have some colored construction paper over here because this is what we're going to cut our shapes out of. And Miss Em has made us a bunch of different templates. And today we're going to be tracing these templates to create the shapes for our robot. And I'm going to teach you all about tracing today. We have a hexagon, we have a circle, we have an oval, a semicircle, a rectangle, we have a diamond or a rhombus, a triangle, and a square. Out of these shapes, you can choose whichever ones that you would like to when creating your robot. I'm going to be using some glue today, so of course I have a messy mat under my work so I don't get any sticky mess on my table. And that's everything you're going to need today, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing I want to make for my robot is his body, because his body's going to go right in the middle of our paper, and then we're going to be building his arms, his legs, and his head coming from our body. So the best thing to start with is the body, and you can choose any shape that you would like to for his body. You could do a rectangle body, you could do a diamond body, whichever shape you would like to do, you can. I think for my robot, I am going to do a rectangle body. So I'm going to choose the rectangle template. I'm going to pick it up. And by the way, at each of your tables, we only have one of each shape. So every table is only going to have one rectangle, one circle, one square. So it's really important that we are taking turns today and we are sharing and showing kindness while we're sharing. Try to be patient if one of your friends is using a shape that you would like to use. So like I said, I'm going to choose the rectangle for my body, and I'm going to choose a color, and I think I'll do pink. So what I'm going to do is, after you've chosen a color for the body and you've chosen a shape, we're going to lay it down on our paper. We're going to be tracing this shape onto our new colored paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it down on top of my colored piece of construction paper. And I'm holding it with my left hand because I draw with my right hand. If you draw and write with your left hand, then your right hand is going to hold down the template so you can trace with your left hand. But I'm right-handed, so I'm going to hold my template down with my left hand, and I am going to trace around it. And this might be a little bit tricky for you at first, but this is going to be very, very good practice for you. And notice my template is not moving around my paper. I'm trying to keep it in the same spot if I can. If it does move out of place, what do you think we could do? Well, what if we just put it right back in the same place that it was, like a puzzle? So I can already see where I've drawn that rectangle, but I haven't finished it yet, and my template has moved out of place, so I can just put it right back where I had it. It's kind of like a puzzle, putting a puzzle piece in the right spot. And once you have it in the right spot, you can hold it down again and finish tracing your shape. After you finish tracing, you can pull up and look, there is our rectangle. So after you trace a shape, you can go ahead and cut it out. And of course, when I'm cutting, I'm using my very best scissor safety. My scissors are pointed away from my body. My thumb is on top, and my lazy hand is holding my paper and showing my scissors where to cut. So I'm just cutting right on that line that I drew with my pencil while I was tracing that rectangle. And after we cut it out, can you guess what we're going to do? Yes, we are going to glue it down. And by the way, you're gonna have some extra paper scraps. Any paper scraps that you have, just put them back on your tray, and we can actually use those later when we make other details for our robot. But getting back to after you cut it out, you guys are right, we're going to glue it down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip my shape over. I'm gonna open my glue cup, and we are going to do dot, dot, not a lot, all the way around the edge. We do dot, dot, not a lot because we don't need a lot of glue. If we use too much glue, then we're gonna have a big old sticky mess on our hands, and we don't want that. So just sing to yourself, dot, dot, not a lot, all the way around the edge. And of course, if we get way too much glue, it's gonna start dripping, so we need to remind ourselves, drip, drip, wipe it on the lip of your glue cup. Not the lips on your face, right? No, don't wipe this glue on the lips on your face. Ew, that would be so gross. No, we say drip, drip, wipe it on the lip of your glue cup, and that's the outer edge of your glue cup, and that is just to help us from getting drips of glue everywhere. So drip, drip, wipe it on the lip, and dot, dot, not a lot, all the way around the edge. Do we need to put glue in the middle? No, we don't need to put glue in the middle. That would be way too much glue. We just need little dots all the way around the edge. And once I'm ready, I have my dots going all the way around the edge, I can bring over my background and I can flip my shape over. And this is the body of my robot, so it's gonna go right in the middle of my paper. And I'm gonna hold that down and I'm gonna count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whenever we glue something down, we gotta make sure that it's nice and secure. So we're gonna do the wiggle test, flip it over, wiggle it a little bit. And if nothing falls off, then we are good to move on to our next shape. And for his head, again, you can choose any shape that you want to. You could do another rectangle if you wanted to. You could do a oval head, a semicircle head, any shape that you want to. Hexagon head would be cool. And I'm gonna choose a different color this time. So for my robot's head, I think I'm gonna choose a semicircle here. And you could play around with which direction your shape is going. So maybe your semicircle is like this, but I think I want the rounded curve at the top for mine. And I'm gonna choose a new color, and I'm gonna start tracing. And remember to trace, we put our template down, we hold it with the hand we don't write with, and then we trace it, okay? Remember, we want this to stay in place, but if it accidentally moves out of place, we can just line it back up and try again, and continue tracing that whole entire shape. And there's my semicircle. And then I'm going to cut it out. Any extra scraps you have, put it back on your tray because we can use those later. And I'm ready to glue my semicircle down. And again, I'm doing dot, dot, not a lot because we don't need a lot of glue. And then once you have glue going all the way around the edge of your shape, we're gonna bring over our robot and we're gonna flip it over. And let's talk about where we're gonna position this head for a second, because we don't wanna put it right on top of our body, because I know that a body has a neck. The head is connected to the neck, which is connected to the body. So instead of putting the head right on top of my body, I'm gonna pull it up a little bit. I'm gonna leave a little space in between my head and my body for my robot, because now I am going to give him a neck. All right, wiggle test, wiggle it just a little bit. Nothing fell off, so I'm good to go. Now for the neck, what I'm going to do is I'm not gonna trace anything. I'm gonna use a small rectangle for his neck. And you can use these scraps if you want to. Cut a little small rectangle for the neck so we know the head is connected. But I think I want my neck to be blue, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to cut a small rectangle out for the neck. And I wanna measure it to see, and that looks pretty good. So after I'm happy with that, I can flip it over. And you guessed it, I'm gonna glue it down. Now with these teeny tiny shapes, it's a little bit hard to do dot dot, so just try your best. And once you have your dots, you're gonna flip it over, and I'm gonna glue it down. Hold it down, count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, very good. So I have the body, I have my head, and my neck that is connecting my head to the body of my robot. Now I can start working on his arms and his legs. And for his arms and his legs, I'm going to do the same thing that I did for his neck. I'm going to choose a color, and then I am going to cut a rectangle out. It's pretty much just cutting a strip of paper out. And I think this arm is a little bit too long. So what I'm going to do is I'll just trim a little bit off. And that looks pretty good. And remember, save any scraps, put it back on your table. And I think I want his other arm to be a different color. So I'm going to take another piece and I'll just cut a strip out. And again, it's a little bit too long, so I'm just going to trim it up a little bit. And that looks pretty good. And I'll do the same thing for his legs. Maybe you want it to look like your arm is bending, so it looks like he's saying hello. So you could do a tiny rectangle and a larger one to make it look like your robot is waving. Or you could have it bent down like that. And I could use another rectangle over here to make these arms look like they are bent. So you can really play around with your shapes and come up with a very creative robot. And I'm going to go ahead and glue my arms down because I'm very happy with the way that I've arranged them. You're going to want to play around with your shapes before you start gluing them down, because once we glue them down, they are stuck there. So just play around with the different shapes that you have and figure out the way that you would like your robot to look before you glue it down. Alright, I just glued down my arms, so what I need to do is a wiggle test. Wiggle it just a little bit, and my arms are not falling off, so they're good to go. And I am going to do his legs now. And for my legs, you could do 2 rectangles like I did up here with the arms to make it look like your legs are bent. Or you can just keep them straight. And I think I am just going to keep my robot's legs straight, but that is totally up to you. Once you're happy with the legs, you're going to go ahead and glue them down. You could add other details like fingers and hands, or you could add feet. I think I'm going to add some feet onto my robot. And what I'm going to do is, since these templates are way too big to be his feet, I am just going to start cutting out different shapes. And I want the feet to be a little bit smaller because, like I said, if we use these, then he would have a giant hexagon foot, and we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut out some smaller shapes, and you could cut out triangles, you could cut out smaller circles. That is totally up to what you would like for your robot to look like. I think I want my robot to have triangle feet, and I want them to be 2 different colors. So I'll just cut right on the corner here, and that makes a triangle because this has 3 sides. And I like that for my feet, so I'm going to go ahead and glue those down. And I think I want to do some little circles for his hands. So I'm going to choose a new color, and I am going to cut out a circle, just the best that I can. And so I'm just eyeballing a circle and cutting it out from my paper. And that looks about perfect for that hand, and I want to choose a different color. Oh, I haven't used red yet, so let me do a red circle for the other hand. And a circle is just a big curve that is connected. And I'm just rotating my paper to make this circle. And there is my other hand. So I'm very happy with those. I can go ahead and glue them down. Now I want to add kind of like another smaller rectangle inside of my robot's body because I think it's looking a little bit plain right now. And you can add other shapes inside of his body if you want to as well. And next week we're going to give our robot a little bit more personality by adding, of course, the face, so he has some expression, and we're going to add some other shapes and lines and stuff to really bring our robot to life. But for today, all we need to worry about is gluing his body down, head, neck, arms, legs, feet, and hands. And then after you do that, you will be done for today and you'll be ready for next week. I hope you guys have a lot of fun creating your shape robots today. I can't wait to see how they're turning out. I know they're going to be amazing because you guys are amazing. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.